Hi, my name is Joel Metzger, and I'm the writer for the episode you're about to see, which is The Ring. It's the middle part of the big Wagnerian trilogy we did, the only three-parter we ever did on Xena. And The Ring, for us, was largely based on the Wagnerian ring cycle, which is 4 massive operas that Richard Wagner wrote. I'm sure a lot of us, including myself, haven't seen any of these operas, but you do see a lot of the influences from them, different music cues and stuff. The helicopters from Apocalypse Now, and Elmer Fudd singing Kill the Wabbit. A lot of things like that. And then you notice all the fake snow here, and the mist and the wind makes it look very cold. It's not so cold that the girls don't wear bustiers and mini skirts, but the guys all wear 3 layers of animal skins, and the girls wear go-go outfits. But that is television. That's the Mr. and Mrs. Nielsen. That's Brittany Powell playing Brunhilde there.
Where are her tracks?
Xena is alive. If we split up, we can cover more ground.
And Brittany Powell was cast in America. She was one of the few castings we did in America. Usually everybody's from New Zealand. We saw 20 or 30 girls to play Brunhilde, and it came down between Brittany and Janina Jolson, actually, who went on to be Varya in several other episodes. We only saw 20 or 30 girls. It came down between those two, and we went round and round. We couldn't decide which to do because they both had different strengths. But the deal breaker finally made us pick Brittany was that she was a blonde, basically, because she's, we're doing this sort of Nordic, Aryan, German thing, and we just went with the blonde. And I don't know how Janina felt, but I'm sure she felt better when she ended up being Varya, and she got 4 episodes instead of 2. So it worked out great for her as well.
Well, I guess we're in this together then.
I wrote this in 8 days, I remember. RJ gave me a little extra time to write this. Normally we got 5 or 6 days to write an episode, usually a working week. So I was thrilled to get a whole 8 days to write one of these things. Usually I tried to time it so that I would turn in script on Friday, so I at least could have the weekend off, because usually as soon as I turned in something the next day, I'd have to go right back to work again. There's the monster Grendel that Xena created. We went through several designs for the monster, actually. A lot of different concept sketches. Ended up with this one. Started with the book jacket on the book Grendel by John Gardner, but that wasn't really doable. It's a great book if you ever read it. So some designs were more dragon-like, and some were more mammal-like or wolfman-like, and we ended up with that one because it's supposed to look like the bogs and trees and things that the monster comes from. So it ends up being kind of a really cool camouflage for it. They're all asking Xena why she feels compelled to kill this monster. And so we're about to go into flashback, because the answer is she created this monster, which of course is in keeping with Xena, because she used to be evil, a lot of the enemies she faces are enemies that she created herself. So she's creating the Ring of Power here. Now this is all in the Wagnerian opera, actually. It's a dwarf named Alberic makes this. Of course, we have Xena making the ring. So I don't know, maybe she studied jewelry making in summer camp, I don't know, but she's making the ring. And you'll notice a lot of similar imagery to all the Tolkien stuff, all the Lord of the Rings stuff. And actually, Tolkien and Wagner were drawing on a lot of the same legends, a lot of the same Nordic myths and epic poems and things. Okay, so now we have one of the many fight sequences in this episode. I think there's more fighting in this episode than I know anything I ever wrote, and I'm pretty sure anything in the season. The episode is one long fight sequence with a forced march in between. And, some people have asked, well, how do you write a fight scene? Do you have every punch and kick? And no, obviously you can't do that. What you try to do is set the tension going into the fight scene, and I always tried to give Xena some dirty, hairy, cool line, some aside, some smart-ass thing to say before she springs into action.
You taught us that, Xena.
Let's see if you took notes.
And then I tried to come up with however many turnovers you could. I mean, a fight scene's kind of like a basketball game. You know, you want as many turnovers as you can. Oh, the ring's kicking into play here. Her manicure is ruined. And, but they basically came up with all the fights down there in New Zealand. They just took the germ of what you did and created something incredible out of it. Basically, you just had to know where the fight began, where it ended. And I always tried to do a little dialogue in the middle of the fight, you know, bring out some of the story points between the sword play, but as far as the actual choreography and what actually happened in the fight, that was all on the set.
It's a whole new you, Grinhilda.
They're really working those steam things in the background like crazy, but it just looks great. In some of the early versions, before we went to script, we had talked about having the monster talk, and we decided against it. And you see you get the finger cut off, really similar to what happened in Lord of the Rings when Sauron gets his finger cut off. Like I said, a lot of the same source material for both Wagner and Tolkien. And now Xena becomes empowered by the ring and, of course, has no side effects because she has forsaken all love. She's pure evil. And then we go back to the flashback, and this was in RJ's episode, which was one of the cool things about writing this all at once was that we were able to set up certain things in my episode, or rather, I could write my episode and then RJ could set up some of the elements in his episode earlier, because I started writing mine, the middle part, before the other two started writing the beginning and the end. So she just lost the ring to the monster. So it was really cool in that RJ could set up certain elements and to be paid off in my episode, and we were able to work backwards.
You know you want it.
A friend of mine was asking, oh, why doesn't Xena just light the guy up with the torch, because he seems to be made out of wicker. The monster looks really good in this episode. And again, there was talk of having the monster actually be able to speak, but I think Rob Tappert was concerned, having sort of done that before on other episodes, that it just didn't, he was worried it wouldn't look up to his standards, so we just decided not to give, once any of the characters became a monster, they never talked. Which is probably the smart way to go. And you got to know how hard it is to shoot these kind of monsters. I mean, this guy is probably standing on, I assume he's probably standing on 10-inch platforms. You probably can't see out of that thing. His claws are extending way beyond where his arms are, and the editing and the cutting, they make it look like a real fight. They make it look great. Now, they say styrofoam rocks can't hurt you, but they are very abrasive, actually, if you've ever worked with them.
Xena!
And what we do, a lot of act breaks, we always try to separate Xena and Gabrielle. That's always, it's always a good thing with the commercial break. Yeah, in the script, we went round and round about how to kill the monster. Rob Tappert was really insistent on a big, spectacular death for the monster. We came up with all kinds of things. We're going to burn it in this big fire swamp, and all different ways of how do you kill this indestructible monster. I think Rob had me write 3 or 4 different versions of it until the final version was Xena gets the ring off of the monster, so he's not quite so strong. Kills him with her sword, and the mind caves in, and Gabrielle essentially drags Xena out the last second, and then the monster sort of bursts back to life with one last grab at Xena, and Xena decapitates the monster. That was That was what I had written. And why she jumped on his spiky back, I'm not sure. It's not a move I would have made, but anyway, that was the spectacular death they wanted me to write, was a decapitation, and I'm sure once they got down there and started shooting, or they looked at the costume, they didn't want to decapitate the costume. That probably would have been really tough to do. So she ends up killing him with her chakram. Now the reason, my theory is the reason Beowulf can't get anywhere with Gabrielle is because of his helmet. He's got that nose piece that's really distracting when you look at him. In the Beowulf legend, they fight this indestructible monster, and then once they kill it, once Beowulf kills it, they realize that was the monster, that was basically a cub monster, that there's a pissed off mother out there somewhere, and they have to end up fighting that. That's exactly what happens in our episode. And really, it's kind of a cool psychological thing. I mean, when you think about it, a mother's protection for her offspring or a mother's rage, it's a very strong thing. I mean, if you think about aliens, you know, Sigourney Weaver kills all the baby aliens, and then you have to deal with the mother. It's a really strong psychological motivation for a villain. And this tapestry is really cool. This is the Legend of Xena tapestry, and that's one of the cool things about working on a show like this, is because you get to design these things. I get to describe a tapestry or a weapon or a prop or something cool, and then these brilliant artisans down in New Zealand make this stuff. I mean, if you work on like a regular cop show or something, people wearing street clothes, and it's all regular stuff, but there's something really cool about typing something out of your imagination into your computer, and then a few weeks later you can actually hold in your hand a really well-crafted, well-designed prop, weapon, something. It's just a really cool thing about working on a show like this, especially a show like this when the craftsmanship is so high.
There's fighting for what you believe in, for people that you love.
You know, before I met you, I never thought of a warrior as having any love but the love of battle.
I'm gonna tend to this. Brunhilde, could you scout up ahead, see what's over that ridge? Thank you.
Brittany does a great job in this episode. And I love the way the Valkyries are sneaking up on them. Boom, 4 of them behind one tree. It's just a really great trick. But I just like the fact that they just come rolling out, and these Valkyries just live to fight. They're like the Berserker clan. There's nothing they love more than fighting, and I love the way they just come out and their swords are already out, ready to go. And again, here's Brunhilde's arc. By now she's forgotten all about Odin and her mission, and now her mission becomes to save Gabrielle, or at least to have her for herself. And she scoops her up. Brunhilde's arc kind of takes over the story a little bit, or at least starts kind of driving the story.
Brunhilde, stop!
She wants Gabrielle, and Gabrielle does not want her. She's explaining how she's soulmates with Xena.
Xena and I have a connection. It's stronger than either one of us. We're soulmates.
My love is strong. I can feel it.
I'm trying to tell you that Xena and I are meant to be together. We didn't make it that way. It just is.
And at this point in the series, I think we've really explored like how they are soulmates. I mean, it goes beyond romance. It goes beyond anything. Their two souls are actually sort of cosmically intertwined, and it was interesting to be able to bring that out in the script and actually have them talk about it at this stage of the game.
You've changed me. You've opened my eyes, and you've changed me the way you changed Xena.
I don't know what to say. I'm sorry.
I defied my God for you, Gabrielle.
Brunhilde does not like this. I think in the script I had her do a flip over her to stop her, but obviously if you don't have to shoot that, you're not going to. Again, the grieving Brunhilde monster. And these two used to be old flames, you know, before she was a monster. And I have Odin saying, you're sort of an awkward pause, and he says, "You're looking well," which was the kind of silly things I love to have them say in every episode. I love putting in those little jokes. They probably only let me keep in 1 out of 10, but that was probably a smart thing. But I just like the fact that in this series, you didn't have to be serious all the time. You could actually make little self-referential things.
You do know your way around this place, don't you?
I never had a reason to come into this foul pit. For Gabrielle, I would go through the fires of hell.
Now, keep in mind, all this is indoors. This is a big interior set, and if you just look at this, it's just gorgeous. I mean, I think that's as good as anything you'll see on Sleepy Hollow, where they did a lot of similar indoor sets. Craftsmanship's just unbelievable.
Give me the ring, Xena.
Step aside or join the Olympians.
Xena keeps her cool. She's fought lots of gods before. Now here's where you see the camouflage of the monster really come in handy. She backs right up into him, and you have no idea it's a monster until he grabs her. So the costume design works really well right there.
Find her friend, and at my order, kill her.
Now here's what you never do to Xena. You never tell her you're going to kill Gabrielle. And you don't laugh about it, because she will get pissed and she will kill you. Now this is a really complex fight. This is absolute Rob Tappert insanity, because you have this huge monster. I mean, look at him. He must be 15 feet tall, this thing. You know, he's just sort of slow moving and strong. You have the Valkyries, who are all about speed and spin kicks and fast moves. You have Beowulf, who fights a completely different way. He's just brute strength and an axe. And you have, you know, Odin throwing fireballs. All these different elements, all these different styles of fighting all have to come together. You got to keep everyone busy at the same time. It's very challenging. Now Xena's fighting style completely changes here. This is a great effect. Show how powerful she is. I'm sure they just ran the film backwards, but it's just a simple trick and it works really well. Odin has not learned by now that the fireballs are completely ineffective against him, but he keeps trying. Now, she's got two Valkyrie to fight here, and she fights completely differently. It's like this sort of effortless, not even looking at her enemy thing. She gets this sort of Bruce Lee Zen thing going, because she's been empowered by the ring.
What's my name? You've lost your memory, your sense of self. What about Gabrielle?
I don't know her.
Xena, give me the ring.
Where's everybody?
And great acting here by Lucy. She kind of does some very un-Xena-like moves, because she's lost her essence. And this is a great moment. This was not in the script. I don't know who came up with this, whether it was Rob or the director or whatever, but Xena picks up her chakram and cuts herself on it because she doesn't even know what it is. That was not in the script. It's a great moment, because the chakram is really like her symbol, and she doesn't even know what it is and cuts herself on it. Now comes the big transformation scene.
Xena won't know you.
That's the beauty of television. You can have someone go through this huge character arc in the course of 45 minutes, but that's storytelling. Now she's ready to sacrifice herself to save Gabrielle and to keep the power of the ring away from Odin.
I'll become an eternal flame for you. Only your true soulmate will be able to pass through the fire. You'll be safe.
And again, when we were writing the script, we realized Valkyrie just turning herself into this eternal flame, that's a pretty big thing to introduce at the end of an episode. So we were able to have RJ, we discussed this in the room, and RJ said, well, I'll set that up in my episode. And you saw in the Rheingold a quick scene of Odin teaching Xena how to, you know, control this fire. And he said you can even turn your body into an eternal flame. And Xena's like, why would anybody want to do that? And then here comes the answer here, the next episode. So she she's reciting the ancient runes, and she becomes this eternal flame. And the eternal flame is also from the in the Wagner ring cycle. That's something we borrowed from Wagner.
You see, Gabrielle? You have changed me.
And this was one of my favorite things, favorite moments from Xena, when Brunhilde says, "You see, Gabrielle, you changed me too." And that was one of my favorite moments. And this fire spreads and encircles her and sort of dresses her in kind of this Stevie Nicks kind of thing going on here, but it's a great gown. But we had talked extensively about why would these eternal flames actually change Gabrielle's clothing? Doesn't make a lot of sense why the flames would actually change her clothing, and we finally came to the realization that, okay, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but you can't have a Sleeping Beauty type character without a diaphanous gown. You have to dress her in a diaphanous gown. You can't have Gabrielle just fall asleep in a regular outfit. So it's that fairy tale logic, that fairy tale visuals that you have to have. It just makes sense. Beowulf picks up the elements of Xena, and we'll see that later in the next episode.
Xena!
And again, this is all out of the Wagner opera. Only your true soulmate can pass through the ring of fire. I think in the script I had the ring rolling out of her hand to a stop, but that's even better. Then here's the final shot, and I had talked to Rob Tappert. I was having trouble. I said, Rob, Xena's in the middle of the woods. She's alone. She has amnesia. I'm not quite sure how to dramatize the fact that she has amnesia. And Rob says, well, she falls on her knees and she screams at the top of her lungs, "Who am I?" And that's exactly what she does.
Please tell me.
Who am I? Who am I?
And we're out. That was The Ring. This has been Joel Metzger, and had a great time writing that, and I hope you enjoyed listening.